I think it's up there.
You good? Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Shalom, shalom. Akim and Akwav. This is your brother Azariah and
This is the brother Hawa Yahweh.
Khan. And we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, and we do so. Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, learning and or teaching this gospel in truth and sincerity. And what we want to do is, me and the Ak was talking about this like for a little bit. I'm glad, by the will of the Lord, we're able to finally get on here and do a little quick lesson and kind of touch upon some things that may be, be fundamental to the day that we live in. Coming out of, being in captivity, and, it's no secret that our people are, we're full of wickedness. We're far from keeping the commands of the Most High, following His only begotten Son as we're supposed to. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham, brother Yahweh Sabah. So we just want to make sure that we stay on, show and be on point with keeping the ways of the Most High through His only begotten Son. And this lesson titled Tory Lanez, Megan the Stallion case, Cleave to Wisdom and Righteousness. Because I won't say everybody, right? Because some people know there's a good amount of people that they pay attention or keep up with, certain current events, and either be in the celebrity world and etc. They heard about Tory Lanez and the Megan Thee Stallion case, which has been going on for quite some time now, a couple of years now at least. It's just recently that they've found their Tory Lanez is being convicted, is found guilty of the charge, and we want to kind of take this opportunity to use this example of what is between Tory Lanez himself and Megan Thee Stallion, the situation. We're going to dive into a little bit and to use the examples of why this is they're the perfect example, and not just them. There's so many more, but we're going to use this situation to prove why using wisdom and cleaving onto righteousness, the righteousness being Yahweh Shai, following the Most High, right? That's the way to operate, and not in the ways of, the wickedness, because it will get you caught up. So we're going to dive into it and just let the Spirit take us there from that point. You got anything to say out?
No, that's good. That's it. You can just get it rolling. So you want to go over, we're going to go over, I guess, the backgrounds of the two, because some of you brothers and sisters may not know, and depending on who's watching, you might not be familiar with some of these artists, and that's understandable. So are we able to share screen, or I don't know if you have
oh yeah, let me know what you want.
Yeah, just go ahead and go to you can go to Tory Lanez Wikipedia. So just go to Tory Lanez Wikipedia, and then you can just share the screen and we can just look at it. Because it's important for us to know that everybody's background to a certain degree, because your background sometimes play into like your mentality, meaning the trajectory. So both of their careers, their situations, where they're from, and it kind of gives you an idea of like why these type of things will happen. And the reason why it's important for us to know, because we have to know ourselves, right? The environments that we grew up in, our upbringing, that can all play into our mentality, even when we get into the gospel, right? So even when we get into the gospel, a lot of the things that we learned before we got into the gospel influences our behavior and the way we think about things. So with Tory Lanez, me and Azariah was talking about it even, a few days ago, about like Tory Lanez is probably one of the most talented artists on the planet. And he's also been known to basically do both R&B and hip hop or rap. And his first single that he came out with back in 2015 was Say It, which was his breakout hit. And he is from Canada. I believe he grew up in Miami as well for a little bit. And I believe we talked about he's from, his dad is from Barbados. And so we kind of got to go into his background a little bit, because as y'all know, for some of you brothers and sisters that are probably, I would say, under 35, y'all definitely know about this situation, that what happened in the incident during the shutdown when the incident between Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion happened. Now, one of the things that was also in the situation in the background was the fact that Tory Lanez was an independent artist. And he had rejected continuing his deal with the record label that he was with. And there was always rumors back at that time that something could happen to him for not signing a deal. And that was through Interscope Records he was signed. And he did not continue on with it. So as you see in the actual his bio that he was signed to Interscope Records, and eventually he left it after his deal was over. He did not extend with them, and this is a very big problem in entertainment, especially in music. So a lot of people don't know that once you leave out of the umbrella of the full control of the powers that be that are in the entertainment sector, that you can eventually be targeted, especially if they feel that you're an artist that they can make money off of, and they feel that you want to go independent. Now you're a target. So a lot of people that know how the music industry is run were fearful of what could probably happen to Tory Lanez if he went full independent. Do you have anything to say about that, Azariah?
Nah, not really. I'm a little bit, but like as far as that's dead on. Because I mean, the minute you see the examples of this continuously, he not only went independent though, he also kind of put people on game to how it's working. Like shoot, we'll get into it. There's actually I just watching the Breakfast Club interview actually of him going into the we'll have to pull that up, that part specifically, but he was just going into the actual digging in the numbers, as far as streams and whatnot, speaking about like how for example, say you make for any million streams, someone's making $6,000 off of those streams like every other 2 weeks. So
Hmm.
instead of having the other the what it is, these small hats kind of working it, because we know who runs the entertainment industry. It's already revealed, right? It's been revealed.
Mm-hmm.
um they're making the money. He's saying, yo, look, how long do we have to keep you know getting raped by this music industry? Yo, you take it and you get it going yourself, because it's always known that the minute you at least do something independent, at least you're seeing that money, that you're publishing all of that, the royalties, it's coming to you, right? And that's just the way it's been. People know by now, because the minute they kind of get you when you're hot, right? They get you exactly when you're hot, because he's asking about Interscope, same thing. Jimmy Iovine, right, runs Interscope. The minute you get hot, like, yeah, they'll put you on, and they're gonna use you for like those first 4 or 5 albums. And in those first 4 or 5, like those first 4 or 5 albums that you do when they sign you to these type of deals, usually 360, right? You end up giving out your best material. So by the third album, for the majority of artists, right, the vast
Yep.
majority, they're not even gonna want to listen to you no more. You know,
Facts.
so so they got you, and you stuck on a deal that you can't even really get out of this thing now.
That is so true, because most artists they have a short shelf life. I mean, we're talking about how Drake has had like a 10+ year run. That's like unprecedented, especially in the hip hop circles, and even really in the pop circles. They don't really last that long anymore as well. Like I think the only pop artist that has lasted like 10 years recently, you could say Taylor Swift, and if you want to count Bruno Mars, even though he's more R&B or soul, but it's not been many. I mean, even Katy Perry fell off, so Lady Gaga fell off. So, like you said, how many you got some of the biggest stars that burn bright at their time, and then they fade away. Britney Spears faded away, Justin Timberlake faded away, even the likes of Usher faded away, right?
Yep.
So they know that when they plan out your career, if you got this shelf life that's very short, then they know like, oh, it's no big deal if we don't resign you, because you're already irrelevant. The difference with Tory Lanez is that he kept himself relevant because he was such a hard worker in his craft. He dropped mixtapes in between albums. He was, always having little viral moments here and there. So after he was done with his contract, they still saw great value in him, meaning that this guy can be, a megastar, but we're going to make sure we control everything he does. And he knew that he had the leverage, but he couldn't probably get what he wanted out of the deal, which probably would mean taking his royalties. And they probably didn't want to do a deal where he would get a lot of his royalties, or get him all 100% after a certain period of time. And he probably went his own way, knowing that he had the type of fan base where he can go independent and still make more money than he would if he was with the label, because he knew the numbers, like you were saying, the streaming numbers. The artists are actually getting screwed over on the streaming numbers. Most artists get screwed over the streaming numbers, and so that's why it's funny, because the rapper Russ was always talking about, oh, artists need to go independent. Artists need to go independent. They need to do. But if you come through the independent lane and you stuck in that lane and you went through that lane first, you are. It's easy for you to stay in that lane or use the leverage to get the best deal possible if you sign, because you don't really need it. But if you sign to a deal, which you signed yourself over to people that feel like they run your life and they have your soul, like your Jimmy Iovine's of the world, then when you decide to leave, it's like if we can't have you, no one can mentality. So that's pretty much what it is with his situation. Now, in regards to the charges, we can kind of go over that. So if you can, we can scroll down to, you should be a part in this Wikipedia where they should talk about the incident, at least when it happened, and then we'll go into the just keep going down, like it should be something in there in his biography that has making the incident case.
Well, it's got it listed right here as a brief summary.
Yeah, the charges of the conviction.
So it goes into on December 23rd. The conviction was on December 23rd, 2022. Lanez was convicted in the Los Angeles County Superior Court of 3 charges in relation to his attack on Megan Thee Stallion in 2020. Assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. He was afterwards sent to jail. He faces up to 22 years in prison.
Yeah, and I believe his sentencing date is like later this month. If you go down it doesn't say when the incident occurred. Go down to the shooting number 6. You see that? You can click on it. You can actually click on the hyperlink right there, number 6. It's going to take you right there. Yeah, so it happened July 12th, 2020. That was actually in the peak, like in the midst of the shutdown. That's why they were having a house party and they weren't at a club, because L.A. was one of the cities that was shut down during that time. And if you recall, during that time, there's a couple of things I'm just now realizing something about the date, okay, the time of the year. So we're going to look into something real quick after I say this. So a lot of people were doing house parties. LA was shut down. Only places like Miami, Atlanta, and Houston were like the main cities that were like turned up the summer of 2020, right? Whereas LA, New York, they were turned down. So they went to this party that was held by Kylie Jenner, and this incident ended up occurring after they left this party. So this happened July 2020. Now, can you pull up this is very interesting. When did Hot Girl Summer come out?
Yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah. You could probably click on, if you can. You might be able to open up a new tab on Megan Thee Stallion, but that was her. Let me see, Hot Girl Summer. Did that come out 2020 or 2021?
I think it would be more so 2020.
So you think so she must have dropped that song right before this incident, right?
It had to come before. No, I don't know about right.
I'm about to search it right now. I'm gonna see what year it came out.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, it came out 2019.
Yeah,
so it was before the shutdown.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was before the shutdown. I was wondering. I was like, hold on. Well, you know what? The hot girl summer mentality, term mentality, led to this incident.
Absolutely.
So, the very next year. So I know, and we'll talk about this. When it initially happened, it was reported that Megan Thee Stallion had stepped on some glass, and that was the reason why she had those cuts after she came out the vehicle. That was what the initial reports were saying. However, when they went to the hospital, the doctor said that she was actually shot and she had bullet fragments. Now, the interesting thing about it is there was 2 stories. There was one that they were in the car and she was kicking her legs and fighting her friend. What's the friend's name again?
What's her name?
You can probably go down. It starts with K, I believe. Scroll down because it should have her friend's name in here. It's very interesting when you go through this. There's nothing mentioned about her friend in these first 3 paragraphs.
That's that's the problem right there. Hold
Can you
on.
scroll? Can you scroll down on the Megan Thee Stallion shooting thing and see if it says if it actually says the name of her friend? Is it Casey or something like that?
I think it was Casey. Listen,
Kelsey. It was Kelsey. I think it was Kelsey, wasn't it?
yeah, con.
Kelsey.
Yep.
So her friend. Part of the problem with the situation with Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez was that initially the incident with her friend. And now we talked about what's called the love triangle of death. I've done lessons on it and talked about this whole deception relationships where there's a third person involved and there's deception involved between the all 3 parties. Usually 2 people are deceiving one of the other people or bringing somebody into a situation that ends up becoming deadly or ends up becoming a bad outcome like we see with Tory Lanez in the situation. So one of the things that was going on, the reason why this thing happened was there's a few things. One was the situation with them being drunk. Okay. And this is why it's important for us to have self-control in this thing and being careful about who you're around in these situations. This is one of the reasons why, for brothers and sisters, a lot of times it's not even a good idea to be in an environment where there's people that are intoxicated. Try and prevent, if you see somebody acting a certain way and they're intoxicated, you're at a restaurant or something like that, be mindful of people that are intoxicated because these people can be used by Satan. So we have to be circumspect in this thing. Now, they all, according to reports, admitted that they were messed up drunk. When they got to Kylie Jenner's house, they were given shots, like 4 or 5 shots each, and that caused them to be drunk, and it led to the incident that happened in the pool, which you might be able to find that video. If you go to YouTube, you probably might be able to find the video where Tory Lanez, because this literally happened literally about an hour before the shooting, where you can see Tory Lanez in the hot tub. He's got that smirk looking like he a player.
Yeah. He was in the pool. You talking about when he was in the pool with Kylie Jenner?
With Kylie Jenner. You could just, if you go to YouTube, you can Google it, but we're not trying to show no body. We're gonna just show we're not gonna click on the actual thing, but if you go on YouTube, we'll just show you the little icons, and if you want to watch it later. But one of the things that we can show is the video of her coming out. So let me do this. I'm gonna send this to your email. I'm gonna send a video to your email of Tory Lanez on the ground coming out of the car when the police officers.
Oh, actually, sure, yeah, I got some of that too. But
hold on. All right, my bad. Looks like I ended up popping out. Can you still hear me?
Oh yeah,
Con. Yes, I accidentally hit my remote on my monitor. But yeah, I'm gonna send you the video so brothers and sisters can see like the arrest. So let me go ahead and send it to you real quick, and then that way you can pull it up. So I just sent it to you just now. And this is a position that we don't want to be, brothers and sisters, is what you're going to see in this video. You got it?
Nah, the thing is acting funny. Hold on.
Yeah, what you got to do, go ahead and get out the Wikipedia. So get out from sharing your screen for the Wikipedia, and then whenever you get the actual link, when you click on it, you can share that screen.
Con. No, I was having the issue getting into my email, but I got it now.
Oh, okay, I could put it in the private chat. I'm tripping. If next time I could just hit the link in the private chat as well.
All good, all good. Let's see. Popped up. See, you just sent it to my
Just in your email, and I put it in the private chat as well.
Let me see if I can just pull it up from there, honestly, because right now it hasn't pulled up as of yet. Let's see, I'll just go there. All right, let me open that tab up. There we go. All right, give me just a second.
Yeah, so that's Tory Lanez on the floor. Now watch Megan Thee Stallion when she gets out. Now,
Look, yo. Now I got it. No reason why I'm stopping here is because she is blurred.
Tory Lanez at the
Otherwise,
bottom left.
yeah, Tory Lanez is on the bottom left, slumped out in his boxers or his shorts, whatever. He's laid out on the ground, on the concrete. All right, we got him. He's done.
And you know, I'll say this: if you look at the Megan Thee Stallion situation, as far as with her being shot, it would make sense she was shot. And this is the reason why I say this is because she came out the car limping. Now, if she got cut in her foot, you know, more than likely, you know, I mean, it's weird that it looks this way, but they initially said she stepped on some glass because they said she kicked the window out, right?
Yeah,
But there was no evidence that the windows was broken, right? They said she kicked the windows out, and that's how that happened because she was kicking the window trying to during the fight, and she ended up cutting her legs. And then somebody said she stepped on some glass. Now Tory Lanez also he's barefooted as well, so
yep.
that just shows you they were coming out of a pool party. They probably had sandals on, and when they came out, they probably didn't have their sandals on when they walked out of the vehicle, and that might have been the reason why. But this is a position, brothers and sisters. Good to you posit here that we don't want anybody in, right? Especially in the body. So this is one of the reasons why your night of fun that you have with somebody that's not under proper control, self-control, it can turn into this. And this happens all across the country. This happens all across the country. Every night. Every night this happens all across the country where people get drunk or they're intoxicated, they're on some kind of drugs, and they end up basically doing something stupid, and then they are in jail, or they're in the hospital, or they're in the morgue. Okay, so that's why we having to show this to show you how real this thing could get. You have anything to say?
Is Tory Lanez is he on compliance now? Because I mentioned he's laid out. Like, is he? It looks like he's under compliance by them telling him to get out of the car and delayed like that, right?
Con, yeah. So they told them to both get out the car and to get on the floor and have with their hands out. So he already did it first, and she was doing it next.
Okay, con.
You know, so yeah. So yeah, what you got to say about Megan?
Yeah, they had her blurred out. She ain't got nothing on. Like,
oh snap! Okay, I thought she had that looked like a dress with the blur, like you know, it's a bad camera. You know what I mean?
God.
But they said she didn't have anything on when she came out. Is that what the report said?
There was a video. There's a video I'm actually gonna play to you. That I'm gonna play that. Actually
go
goes
ahead.
into it.
Yeah. Go ahead and play that one as well. A brief thing, and go ahead and get that. And as you're doing that, I'm gonna talk about Megan Thee Stallion, and I'm gonna bring out a precept as well. Now,
gonna let it play out, or
yeah, you can mute it and just let it play out. Just mute it and just let it play out. So with Megan Thee Stallion, as y'all know, she became a pretty, big artist years ago. She was signed to a record label called 300, based out of Houston, which was owned by a former baseball player that's actually from Houston named Carl Crawford. Carl Crawford made hundreds of millions of dollars in Major League Baseball and decided to get into music and started the record label. And she was one of the first artists that he signed, and she blew up with crazy songs. uh, she had a song that she blew up on that it caused her to kind of cross over into like more of a mainstream rapper. And Hot Girl Summer was probably the big one. Big Old Freak was the one she was pushing. Now, why we have to bring that up? Because Megan Thee Stallion um, is part of the culture that the people that control entertainment are trying to push upon our woman, which is the culture of thottery. All right. So she had a single called Big Old Freak, where she's talking about all the exploits that she does and how bad she is and how she does men wrong here and there. And these type of behaviors, this type of thinking that is pumped into the minds of young women is one of the reasons why a lot of things are happening out here and a lot of judgments are being levied out by the Most High. Okay. So what we have to understand is that what we are consuming from people like this is one of the reasons why the Most High is going to destroy a lot of our people. Okay. And this is what your enemy understands. Now, Megan Thee Stallion ended up trying to leave her label, go to Rock Nation, and she's under like a lawsuit with her former label as she was growing in more popularity. And as she did the Hot Girl Summer, she had the label issues, and she got with Rock Nation as a management team. They began to give her several accolades to basically push her as this person to look up to for the young woman around the country, and it has worked, and it has worked even more since the situation with Tory Lanez. And this is where they're running with the whole mantra of protect protect Black women. Okay, now we'll say this: a man in this thing has no obligation to protect the totality of wayward women of our nation. Okay, you're under no obligation. Don't, you fellas out here, don't be a crash dummy. Okay, your obligation is to protect the women that are under you. Okay, and I said under for a reason, because if a woman is not under you, you have no obligation to protect her unless she's part of an extended situation, meaning a part of an extended body, and you are one of the men that is, basically around her, one of the men in the body that's basically has access to her from a certain perspective as far as with teaching her or helping her with learning, right? But other than that, there is no obligation for you to go protect some random woman out here that's gonna basically doesn't care if you die, and she gonna move on with her life, and she gonna have another hot girl summer and not care about you. Okay. Now, so that's one of the things that they're trying to push to guilt trip men. But let's just keep it real. There's millions of men of our nation that are in jail or have died over women. Let me get a couple of precepts before we get to that video. One is going to be Ephesians chapter 6. Okay.
We'll put it up here for you, for everybody else to see.
Yeah, just go to verse 12. Let's do verse 12 only for now. Because people got to understand is that what we're seeing physically, there's a spiritual realm behind us, right? These things are orchestrated by Satan, and the Most High will allow these judgments to come upon certain people. Okay, and the Most High is allowing some of these things to be shown in real time and on video for us to learn from. Okay, so Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Now, what does that mean? We're basically, it's Satan that we're dealing with ultimately. Now, the flesh and blood is the people that he uses. Those are human beings. Those are people on earth. Okay. And in the earth, they have principalities that they rule from. Okay. They rule from governments. They rule from in entertainment. They rule in the religious sector, in the education sector. Okay. They have different sectors, of control. There's a guy by the name of Dr. Neely Fuller, a brother, older brother, that talks about the 9 areas of activity that's controlled by the oppressor. Okay, he controls all 9 areas of activity. These are part of the principalities. These people are in power seats. That's why it says rulers, because this shows you that these rulers of the darkness of this world that are flesh and blood, they're not Satan, spiritual demon Satan himself, but the spiritual demon Satan is used them to basically bring some of these things as far as these actions that are in the world to fruition. Okay, so these two individuals, Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, are under the control, all right, of these people that are in these different power seats, okay, that are operating under Satan. And that's something we have to be very much mindful of when we're, going over this thing. Do you have anything to say?
No, not on
Okay.
that one,
Con,
man.
cons. Now, the other precept I'll bring out later. You can go ahead and play the video, but the other precept we'll bring out probably towards the end. Now I think about it.
I do. Oh, well, which one? Hold on. Is it I do have a preset for what you just said though, so I want to make sure I ain't
Yeah,
going.
go ahead. If you got it, if you're gonna go to it.
Let me see. I don't know if you was thinking about this one. Uh, was it Sirach? Was it? It's not Sirach, but Esdras, second Esdras.
Go ahead and get it. Well, if you have it.
All right. Uh, or first Esdras, I believe.
Yeah, you first says just you can go ahead and go there.
Was that? Let's see. Was that the one?
Yeah, that was one. You can go ahead and get it now.
All right.
We still got a gang of precepts we can bring out later too.
Okay. I make sure you know what I'm saying. I want to jump the gun on it, man. All right, sure. We can always go back to it if need be.
Yeah, we can always go back to it as well. So it should be first Ezra 4.
Verse 4 and 26.
Yeah.
Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred and sinned for women.
That's right. Yeah. And that's what happened with Tory Lanez. And we're gonna get into the situation and the dynamic of what happened. I believe the video you're gonna play is gonna have, I guess, more detail breaking down the incident and the situation, correct?
Con. Yeah. Give me just a second. I gotta open the garage door for somebody real quick. Give me just a second, Osalaki.
Yeah, that's cool. It's all good. Hey, Shalom. Y'all saw Bob. What's the deal? Yeah, a lot of those independent artists, man, it's like if you're an artist, you're better off just staying independent. A lot of times the reason why independent artists don't stay independent, the ones that at least grow big, is because they want more fame and money. Because really, being a musician is a talent. And, if somebody can make a living off of it, people can make a very good living being an independent artist. Like they really can. It just depends on the level that they reach. But they can reach a high level of, satisfaction from their career as an independent artist. If they just go the route and keep working at it, because there's always been people from ancient times that played music as well, and then when you start getting into like bigger city centers and stuff like that, especially back in the ancient world, you'll have people that, were very good at playing particular instruments, or they were singers, and they would go and they would do shows and be paid. They would be paid to sing at weddings and stuff like that. A lot of stuff, there's nothing new under the sun. These type of people existed back then. It's just that today music has been corrupted, you even to the level it is at now. I mean, it's just obviously being corrupted on purpose.
Con. Yeah, big time. They don't even care no more. They're letting you know. We here to
Yeah,
put.
yeah. Even Lear Cohen, who you brought up, we brought up some of these executives, these principalities and rulers in dark places, right? You
God,
judge Jimmy Iovine. Leo Cohen is another one. Leo Cohen, outright on the Breakfast Club interview, said that he has no problem with his artists promoting the things that's destroying the so-called black community.
God.
He says, and he asks if he would allow his people, whatever would be if it was on the other end, and he admitted that he doesn't care. He doesn't care for what the outcome is of what they're pushing.
See, that's a lesson in itself. That might be a lesson in itself for time permit. Just off of this is only a chunk, a section of that. You're dealing
Mm-hmm.
with 2 people, 3 people really involved in this thing. But
Mm-hmm.
this whole thing is how it affects the whole community and how we've, what we've digested over these years, man.
Gone.
I got you right here too on the this is Bruce Rivers. I'm gonna click on the first one I on the criminal lawyers breaks down the trial, the first one.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal.
Skip all
Hi,
that.
this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, which means I actually try cases. I'm not just writing passports to prison. Today we're reacting to the trial of Tory Lanez. This is the shooting with Megan Thee Stallion. Before we get to that, this, like all of our episodes, are what? Brought to you by eforms.com. That's eforms.com. You need a form for any kind of legal purpose. You need eviction, bill of sale, rental agreement, anything that you need a legal form for. Go to eforms.com, and you don't hire a guy like me to do that kind of stuff because I would just go to eforms.com and charge you a ton of money. Anything you need, go to eforms.com. Tory Lanez is a Canadian rapper, and he was in a car with Megan Thee Stallion, and kind of know what this is about, right? He's alleged to have fired his gun in her direction and said, dance, bitch. Kind of like how they do in the Wild West, dance, 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 blah, blah, blah. So this is what I know. And I don't know the truth.
I can pause that right there.
Straight what we think, what's happening so
Real
far.
quick.
The project didn't open their case.
And by the way, fair use, fair use. YouTube be
Yeah.
tripping. Fair use, fair.
Yeah, Con,
This
yeah,
is for
definitely.
fair use. This is for criticism of content. We're doing this under the fair use. Okay. Sometimes you got to roll that out or whatever. Or I think we'll probably roll out a, what do you call it? One of those background things that goes at the top where it has fair use. So that way, what happens in the algorithm when the computer or their AI, their artificial intelligence monitors your video, when they see fair use, like at the top, they won't even block anything. Plus, we're not monetizing the video anyway, so it's probably would be easy for you to overturn it if they did try and block it. So we're good to go. But we have to sometimes be mindful of that. But the reason why I had you pause it was because the part where the alleged saying that Tory Lanez shot in the ground, like on some Yosemite Sam type stuff, to dance B. You said that's crazy if that's true. He's going to go into it further, but I mean, is it plausible? It is plausible. He was that drunk. Is it plausible he shot and was not trying to shoot at her feet? You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And the bullets ricocheted and hit her feet, but he didn't point at her feet directly. It's possible, right? Now there's other witnesses. There was another witnesses that said maybe something else, right? So go ahead and continue playing.
All right.
And then the defense did their opening. You got 2 completely different scenarios. The prosecution is saying that Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion, and it was after he got insulted about his skills as a rapper. The defense is saying it could have been somebody else. It could have been Kelsey Harris, who was the friend who was in the backseat with Megan Thee Stallion. And the defense theory is that there's some argument between those two, and it had to deal with Tory Lanez being in the pool with Kylie Jenner or Kendall Jenner. I don't know, one of the Jenner people. Who the fuck cares? Let's just kind of watch what happens with the stop. Now you can see in the lower left Tory Lanez is laying on the ground, and all he's got on are shorts and no shoes. Now, you got Megan Thee Stallion. I think she's bare naked. She doesn't have. I mean, I don't see any clothes on her at all. And she got notice she got out of the rear passenger side seat, and that's kind of important to note because we're going to read some of the transcript later. But she's got no clothes on. He's got almost no clothes on. And now Kelsey gets out of the car, and she gets out of the driver's side rear seat. Now she's got more clothes on, but not a whole lot of. Everybody's pretty much, whatever. So now, as we get into the transcripts of what happened, it's interesting to know where people were when they got pulled out of the car. So you've got Tory Lanez was in the front passenger seat. Megan Thee Stallion was right behind Tory Lanez, and Kelsey Harris was in the rear driver's side seat. Here's the other thing. Gunshot residue was found on Kelsey Harris, but it was also found on Tory Lanez. Here's the thing. When you fire a weapon in an enclosed vehicle, that there's no discrimination on where that gunshot residue goes, right? So what happens is you fire the gun, and right there, it comes out the front because the bullet comes out. But so gases come out the front, but it also comes out the back, and the side. So you get it just goes everywhere. So if you're anywhere near it, you're gonna have that on you.
Okay, I just thought that's pretty key to know. If you're gonna have any of that residue on you, it can go anywhere, so anyone's liable to get it.
Yeah. That's one of the dangers of being around somebody who's like reckless, right? Because if you're there, you're now considered what's called a co-defendant, potentially. Now, Kelsey was never viewed as a co-defendant in the shooting. That's a very interesting thing, right?
Right.
I believe it was if there was another male involved, maybe another artist is involved as well. It's possible that person would have been considered a co-defendant of Tory Lanez. But the persecution focused strictly on Tory Lanez only. Now, the reason why they probably did that, because remember, the job of the persecution is to prove guilt, prove based on the charges they levy that this person is guilty. The prosecution wins 90-something% of their cases. Many times in situations, the person that's being accused would take just a plea, right? Depending on the circumstances of the situation. Now, Tory Lanez has the ability to fight to mount up a legal defense because he has the money for it to basically not take a plea. But one of the things that was in this that wasn't mentioned, he did mention that Tory Lanez is a Canadian rapper, and this is very key. One of the things that people were saying is that Tory Lanez should plead guilty and get a lesser sentence so he can get out, right? But the problem is that he's a Canadian citizen. He's not an American citizen. So if he actually gets convicted of a felony, meaning even if he pleads to it, he can't even come into the country no more. So what a lot of people don't understand is that by him being found guilty as a felon, he can no longer come into the country. So that means he can no longer come here and record with artists. He can no longer do tours. The biggest money maker in music is being in Babylon touring. If you don't believe me, look at Bad Bunny. Okay? Bad Bunny is making most of his money in the USA, and he's from Puerto Rico. But his money that he's making, the big money, the record-breaking money that he's made in 2022 is because he was touring in the USA. So this completely handicaps the career of Tory Lanez. Let's say even if he was to get sentenced to 5 years and he got out in 4, right? If he came out and he was still able to be relevant and drop some music, he couldn't even tour here anyway. This essentially ensures that Tory Lanez is done as an artist.
Okay.
He's finished.
Which
what do I say?
Oh yeah, Saki. I just on another video, which I'm gonna try to pull up when he was having an interview with academics. He mentions that he mentions that, hey, look, there's people that's trying to cancel him. So I won't go into all of that right now, but he mentions that to what you're saying. So yeah.
Con.
I'll go ahead and play the rest.
Con.
So let's see what the officer testified to. Upon doing that stop, could you see how many occupants were in the vehicle? Not initially. At some point, yes. How many? 4. So there's 4 people. You got the driver, you got Tory Lanez, and you got the 2 ladies. Did you see anyone in court here today that you saw that date? I do. Could you describe what he's wearing? He's wearing a white shirt in the front passenger seat of the SUV. Were the other occupants removed from the car? Yes. Aside from the defendant who was seated in the front passenger seat, who else was in the vehicle and where were they seated? So this is kind of an important thing. There was a driver and then there was a female passengers in the rear seat. Now, one of the passengers was her first name, Megan Stallion. Yes. Where was she located in the passenger seat? She was sitting behind Mr. Daystar Peterson. That's Tory Lanez. So the other female in the vehicle, was that person later identified as Kelsey Harris? Yes. Was she in the rear passenger seat behind the driver? Yes, she was. Once all the occupants were removed with respect to the female identified as Megan, did you observe any injuries on her? I did. Injuries did you observe? She was bleeding from her right foot. Now, here's the thing. When they asked questions, the defense asked questions of Megan Thee Stallion because she testified that she lied. She lied a lot. She lied about how she got the injury. She lied about the fact that anybody shot anything. And she lied about, where she was and who she was doing what with. What did you find? There was an olive green handgun on the floorboard of the front passenger seat, which is where he was. Could you repeat that one more? There was an olive green handgun on the floorboard of the right front passenger seat.
Let me
Green handgun.
Let me rewind that
The fact that anybody shot anything. Here's the thing. When they asked questions, the defense asked questions of Megan Thee Stallion because she testified that she lied. She lied a lot. She lied about how she got the injury. She lied about the fact that anybody shot anything. And she lied about, where she was and who she was doing what with. What did you find?
So I just paused that because that's a big red flag and an eye opener. Of course, to lie, in general, and we're talking about a trial, a case. She lied about dealing, and we've come across accounts of her lying about dealing, with Tory in any type of, manner. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. In fact, you might be able to pick up the Gayle King.
Okay. Yeah, we gotta
get
that.
You can play the little soundbite. I'm pretty sure you can find the YouTube clip that has a shortened question of Gayle King asking her about her relationship with Tory Lanez.
What you talking about?
Yeah, go ahead and pull that up. This is very important. Y'all know why we're talking about this. Just for you brothers and sisters, you understand why we're talking about this dynamic, because it's leading into some of the issues that happens in Israel, even in the Israelite community.
We switch over the screen for just a second. All
right. Did you have an intimate relationship with him?
Like sexual?
Yeah. Did you, Megan? Did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Yes, that's my question.
I didn't have a sexual relationship with Tory.
Why the fuck you lying? Crying and lying about already knew she slept with Tory Lanez, but now she has to admit it in open court. But it's believe all women, right? And this is exactly how women end up shooting themselves in the foot.
Did you have
Man, that was a good clip though. Hey, unintended comedy.
Facts.
That's always the best. That's always the best ones.
They really, I didn't expect. I forgot that the gift popped up. I forgot that meme that popped up, man. And it's it's crazy because and also was funny too. The pun intended, shot himself in the foot. Like that's literally what happened. Like it's this is the thing, man. And when you pause on that, you had to think about it. It's a direct question. There's no details involved. She asked a direct question. Were you involved with Tory Lanez? If, a woman or a man, if they on the real about something, the direct question, all you had to do was the answer is yes or no. If it's no, you could have just came out of nowhere. Why was there hesitation? Why the great pause to answer a direct question?
Come on, man. And you know why she was doing that? Because by her lying, just trying to keep the dynamic of why this situation happened. Because this is over her and Kelsey and Tory Lanez, the love triangle. So for the case to work, it's got to just make it look like Tory Lanez was just this guy who was angry that she turned down his advances. Because this is where they use this situation to say why would Megan Thee Stallion be with Tory Lanez, right?
Right.
Because everybody was like that relationship didn't appear to be something that she would get into. And if you look at it from an industry perspective, right? Tory Lanez was an independent artist at that time. So if Tory Lanez is an independent artist at the time, Megan Thee Stallion is a major artist being promoted, right? She's supposed to actually be messing with a guy that's actually on the other end, meaning that's on the end of the mainstream artist side. Because technically, at that point, once you go independent, he technically could never be mainstream. What I mean by that, Tory Lanez was not being played on the radio. When he dropped all his independent stuff, none of his stuff was being played on the radio. It was some of the songs was going viral on social media, but if you went to your local radio station, you were not going to hear Tory Lanez on the radio once he went independent. That's because the major labels, they control the radio. Okay, so her lying about that. Think about it. What is the motivation behind lying about the fact that you had this relationship with him? Everybody knows that y'all was dealing with each other after the incident happened. Really bump it. They saw the footage of you in the pool with him in the jacuzzi. There was at Kylie Jenner's place. There was in the pool. He over there with his big old smile on his face with Megan Thee Stallion in the pool. Now maybe the dynamic of like how people look at it. Maybe they looked at him like he was a jockey riding a horse. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, man.
Oh no. Go ahead and read that. Yeah, so Rock got the 9 in verse 8. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for wherewith love is kindled as a fire. Love. That's
Come on,
inside joke.
God.
But yeah, that's a good one, man. Because what Tory Lanez did not figure out was the character of Megan Thee Stallion. Here's why. Megan Thee Stallion has a history of domestic violence. She was actually arrested for assaulting her boyfriend in Austin years back. Okay? Megan Thee Stallion is also pushing thought culture. She's a woman that is a known drunkard in the industry. She's known to be a drunkard and to sleep around with many men, which was exposed in the industry, in the trial, right? About the various men that she was dealing with, from the baby to Ben Simmons to Tory Lanez to her current man.
She was on with Trey Songz too. We got video on that.
Yeah, Trey Songz. Mm-hmm. So she's known, and you already know that some of these other bigger artists have gotten with her, or even guys that she's worked with on certain songs as well. They definitely probably got with her. So, and she's known to not be able to hold her liquor. She's known to turn up and get drunk and act crazy. So the beauty of Megan Thee Stallion overshadowed the character that she had. And guess what? Tory Lanez is also a characterly flaw. So we're not going to put it all on Megan Thee Stallion, right? It's like it tells you that everyone assorted to its kind in the scriptures, right? So these people were just alike. Everyone assorted to their kind. A lot of times when these type of things happen to a woman, and the woman out there in the general society will just say the man is the devil and the woman is the angel. No, the Most High says a wicked woman is given unto a wicked man. Okay, so that kills that noise off the rip. So if your sister complaining about a wicked man in your life that you don't like and that you say is mistreating you, sometimes you got to look yourself in the mirror and see if you that same type of person, because you are probably like unto him, and vice versa. If you're complaining about a wicked woman, it might be, I'm not saying it's 100%, it might be that you are like unto her, and that's why she's wicked and you're wicked too. Okay. So that's why it's understandable. You have to understand that these type of things happen because these people mirrored their own flaws in each other. Tory Lanez had the ego, he had the money, and that's his outward attraction that he brings as a man. And then Megan Thee Stallion had the beauty attraction that she brought to herself, and both of those can cover up the character flaws. What do I mean by that? The Bible warns men about women all the time. That's the women are not even told to be warned about men, because the Most High is going to pair the type of woman with the type of man that they're going to be with, whether they're good or whether they're evil. So as men, it's incumbent on us to understand what we need to know, because the Most High is giving warnings to men. Now, as far as us talking to you as a brother to talking to a sister, you need to have men in your life that know this Bible, so that way you're not dealing with men that have these type of problems, because you're not going to be able to decipher these type of men that will enter into your life. And what happens is, naturally, if you are that type of woman, you will attract that type of man into your life. You can hide it with a head wrap, you can hide it with whatever, you can hide it with trying to put on clothes, but behind closed doors, you really like these type of men. So we have to understand, what is it that we're trying to learn from this type of incident. You have anything to say?
Basically, when it comes to that as well, right? Because you also, to add on to what you were saying, with men that know how to deal with the Bible, even more so, men that are followers in Yahweh Shai, and men that have will follow Yahweh Shai wholeheartedly, right? And we got lessons on that of what that means, right? But that specifically too, because hey, look, you got men that out here. It's sad to say, but you got men out here in the this community that will still fool you. Pick up a Bible, but then go to the club, and do the same actions and pull the same type of stunts outside of camera. So you have to be mindful of that as well, which is even more scary.
Yeah, we can go back to that video with the lawyer breaking it down all the way down. Let's see what else you got to say.
Let's see here.
There was an olive green handgun on the floorboard of the front passenger seat, which is where he was. Could you repeat that one more? There was an olive green handgun on the floorboard of the right front passenger seat. Was this a semi-automatic firearm? Yes, it was. Did you inspect the gun any further? So now it's important to do that, because when you fire a semi-automatic handgun, it automatically puts a round into the chamber once you fire it, and then you keep doing it until the gun is empty. As you were rendering it safe, what did you notice about the firearm? The firearm was warm to the touch, which, if you fired it 3 or 4 times, it's going to get hot. Anything else about the position in which the firearm was in at the time that you observed it? It was in the slide lock position. So they have Mr. Daystar Peterson, or Tory Lanez, sitting in the front passenger seat next to the firearm. They have Kelsey is going to testify, if she hasn't already, that Tory Lanez shot the firearm at Megan Thee Stallion and told her dance bitch or something close to that. Megan did testify to that. They don't have the fragment. Evidently, it was removed from her at the hospital, but not preserved. You look at her injury, and her injury is not just, I mean, it's a flesh wound, I guess, but it certainly is not just a slice from a piece of glass. In the medical records, the emergency department noted that Megan was asked repeatedly about her injuries, but she stated she never heard a gunshot and initially never even believed that there were bullets present. However, the report said the initial x-rays appear to show bullet fragments in both of her ankles. Now, the defense is going to try to poke holes. You know, she's saying she didn't hear a gunshot. Now she's saying she heard a gunshot. She's saying that she cut on glass and now it's a bullet. But they did pull bullet fragments up, but they didn't keep them. She's going to say that this is all about a love triangle and this is what the motivation was. And the real argument, and you got kicked out of this party, and the real argument was between you and Kelsey, and Kelsey could have been the one that shot you. You didn't see who shot you. You didn't tell the cops anybody shot you. So they're going to, anything that she lied about, the defense is hammering home. And they're doing that to discredit her so that you can't believe anything she says. There's a doctrine in law called falso nudo, falso in omnibus. And I guarantee you that's where the defense is going with this. What it means is if you're lying about one thing, you're lying about everything and you can't be trusted. It's been said that...
Still pause right there.
Yep.
Go ahead and go into that, what he just said. If you lie about anything, if you lie about one thing, you'll lie about anything. So she's lied in the early stages of the police report. She lied. She lied in the Gayle King interview. This is all proven. But this is the mantra that's going around with the wicked witches of the West.
Okay, come on, man.
On social media is that you got to believe all women. Exactly. So she's continuing lying. There's something the reason why she's lying because she has something to hide. And the motivation behind what it appears to be why she was lying is because whatever happened in the incident between the three of them is not happening as it's being suggested. Because if everything of the charges was true and on point, then you don't gotta lie. Just roll with whatever it is because you want him to go down anyway, right? If you want him to go down because he shot you, why do you gotta lie? The charge is already on him. So that means something else happened or somebody else was involved in why you are shot. Got anything to say?
Yeah, I gotta step out for a second.
Okay.
But yeah, no, definitely. And they're gonna use that. That should have been used to the case. It should have been used to the case because of the fact of, hey, look, like he said, she's consistently lying about what she's doing, and that's what they do. If you get caught on one lie, they're gonna use you're not credible at this point. How can we trust anything that you say? Because you know when you go on the trial, right? You take an oath. They make you take an oath. In Esau's court system, of course, right? And then you're supposed to tell the truth and events of what happened. Of course, in this case, we have a confirmed liar, and yet, somehow, and yet, this is how you see where the agenda pushes because still, we're dealing with the man who's been convicted. He's trying to go on to appeal, but as it stands, he's currently convicted.
And the way when you look at it too, you're talking about going to the stand. Her friend Kelsey, who was there in the car, one of the three people that came out of the car, out of the SUV that we saw in the video, she testified. She was supposed to testify, but she got immunity from the persecutor, and she also was able to plead the fifth. So if the evidence was truly saying that Tory Lanez is a shooter, if she was there, why didn't she just say that he shot her? And why did she take immunity? Because if she wasn't involved in the incident at all, and she was just a bystander that was just there, there's no reason for you to take any level of immunity. Immunity is only needed to prevent you from being persecuted for something that you said or being charged, meaning your involvement in opening up this case is going to lead to the conviction that we're looking for. It's a persecution. And for that, we're not going to persecute you for your involvement in the situation. Does that make sense? So that's why they would do the immunity thing. So this is, we'll read that from y'all Sabah. This is Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 6. The words of the wicked are to lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright shall deliver them. Yeah, that's what some of these people do. You know, and that's why you don't want to get caught up in these situations, you know, where you are persecuted for things that, you know, you want to be persecuted for righteousness' sake. Okay. In fact, there's a precept that's actually in the epistle. In fact, we brought it out yesterday in 1 Peter 4:15. But let none of you suffer as a murderer or as a thief or as an evildoer or as a busybody in other men's matters. That if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. So you don't want to suffer because of the situation like Tory Lanez did. Because at the end of the day, a lot of stuff could have been prevented if he knew what kind of woman he should have. But remember, you know, people that are non-believers, they've been Babylonianized in their mind. We once were as well. You can't see all these things because you're in darkness. So a lot of these type of trappings that Satan sets up, a lot of these men can't see because they are living that lifestyle. They're in the pride of life, the lust of the flesh. You know what I'm saying? They're in the, you know, the lust of the eyes. This is what they want. This is what they're looking for. You know, he went out to the party to be seen. He went out to the party to, you know, continue doing what he was doing, which we'll get into later once the brother Azariah pops back up.
Hey, Salakia, man. Yeah. You already know. You already know how it goes, man.
Come on.
Well, where we at, up?
Yeah, just I read the Proverbs 12 and 6. You know, talked about how you know, went to 1 Peter 4:15 and 16 to suffer not as an evildoer. Tory Lanez, as much sympathy as some men are showing him, right? He's suffering as an evildoer in a way because there was deception that he played on his part. Unfortunately for him, it's very plausible that he did not do the shooting. But the thing about it is, you have to remember, as men, especially, that you are guilty to proven innocent, and the system, the powers that be, is designed actually to punish you, even for things you didn't commit. Because in this system, as a man, especially a man as a Southern Kingdom, you actually are going to be more likely to be in jail for something you didn't do than any other group of people. And if you're in the vicinity of a situation that they can say you are the most plausible suspect in this situation, therefore we're gonna put the charges on you, and they're gonna convict you without probable, you know, possible evidence that implicates you, then it doesn't matter. One of the reasons why Megan Thee Stallion did not want to say that she slept with Tory Lanez, because then it will open up why this incident occurred. And she was lying to Gail about why the incident occurred, and lied about her relationship with Tory Lanez. It wasn't until later that it was found out that Kelsey was with Tory Lanez. Okay, and Kelsey initially started the relationship with Tory Lanez, and later, after that, Megan, being envious, like many worldly women, behind her friend, went and got with Tory Lanez. And this is what ignited the issue. There was also another issue that was in play with Kylie Jenner. It was alleged, people say this, I don't know if it's true, that Kylie Jenner was finding interest in Tory Lanez, and this is what caused Megan Thee Stallion to want to end them being at the party and to go. And then as they went, it was exposed that Megan had messed with Tory, and Kelsey, her friend, was upset, and they got into a fight, according to witnesses who saw it. 2 women fighting outside. You have anything to say?
Look at that, man. Look at that. I would have hit the sound effects. I had them. Look at that, because and that's the thing. Like you mentioned earlier, we're not hearing too much mentioning of Kelsey, because then, right, if they go into that, you're just mentioning 2 women going at it. You're mentioning, and that doesn't hit the agenda. The agenda is to put the man under. The agenda is to bury the man to the ground, right? And it just sounds so much better when Kelsey, you only know about Kelsey as being associated with these 2 celebrity artists, right? So this whole situation, man, and it's definitely a lesson to know, because again, Tory is moving as an evildoer, and the scriptures tell us, and so was Megan, so was everyone involved in this party. Scriptures tell us, follow not a multitude to do evil.
And the thing about it is, in these situations, the men are the ones that get the biggest brunt. They get the biggest punishment, because you can think about any situation, people going to, a very dangerous strip club or club in the city, right? In any city, when a shooting happens, who's more likely to die? The men.
Yeah,
the women that go to these parties and clubs, they're the least likely. The chance of them actually being a victim of a shooting in these type of incidents is like very slim.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about like they in a club shooting, they might end up being less than 10% of the club shooting victims.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just get injured only because they weren't the intended target. So they're part of the ecosystem of wickedness, right? Because they're also part of the encouraging these men to be, hardcore and be, this, that, and the other, be macho, be ignorant, and be out there acting up. So a lot of men are motivated by women to do some of the things that they're doing. And Tory Lanez is no different. And so one of the things, we'll play this and then we'll discuss the dynamic between Megan, Kelsey, and Tory Lanez.
I can ruin a marriage, right? So when somebody comes into court and they lie to you with this, what it means is if you're lying about one thing, you're lying about everything, and you can't be trusted. It's been said that one lie can ruin a marriage, right? So when somebody comes into court and they lie to you, they're going to be told, the jury's going to be told, that you can't believe anything Megan says, because she just admitted that she's lied about all these other things. So what do they really need in order to get a prosecution that's successful? They can't just rely on Megan Thee Stallion's word. They have to have corroboration. Does Kelsey Harris provide some of that? I think she does. Does the physical evidence, the injury to her foot, the medical records, the testimony from a doctor, the gunshot. Let's talk about the gunshot residue for a second. You're going to have gunshot residue. There is gunshot residue on pretty much everybody in the place, that was in the car, and that's because when you have, like I said before, when you're in an enclosed vehicle, it just kind of goes everywhere. So let's just play devil's advocate. Okay, let's take the defense side for a second. The defense is alleging that this is really a fight between Kelsey and Megan Thee Stallion, and that was possibly Kelsey that fired the weapon, right? Kelsey has taken forever to get out of the car. Now, she was in there for quite a while, so could she have done something like hid the gun in the front seat or on the front passenger side? Certainly could have. So the defense certainly has piqued the interest of the jurors, and they do this by presenting this more salacious case of jealousy, of romantic triangles, and all that kind of stuff. Juries like.
There you go. There goes the triangle, man.
Yeah. That's just like you said. It's just salacious. Those love triangles are very big. These are known to be some of the most dynamic incidents that people know about, even in even in people's personal lives growing up, even from middle school, when people start when boys and girls start liking each other. you start seeing the beginning of these love triangles,
God.
that start formulating, Go ahead.
Simple things, to be honest with you. If they are able to glob on to facts that are simple and straightforward, they will. But if they can somehow poke a hole, which is what their job is, that's what they're trying to do with this complicated story. So he's and they just added a new charge of reckless discharge of a firearm in a public place. Reports are that he's looking at 22 years. I don't know in practicality. You always hear that on the news. They say, oh, he's looking at 10 years. He's looking at what. That's usually the statutory maximum. And people never get the statutory maximum unless it's a really egregious case. So we'll keep following this, but it's the state's pretty much almost done putting their case in, and then we'll see what happens with the defense. So I'm Bruce Rivers. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and just a little point of reference: you shouldn't be caught naked in the back of a fucking SUV. That's a bad position to be in.
That lets you know how drunk they were.
God.
My goodness. 3.
Hey, man. The scriptures talk about with that strong drink, man. Misusing. Wine in a mocker.
Yeah, gone. In fact, we can get something, precept on.
Look, I got one right now for you.
Okay.
Proverbs 20 from the top. Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. This whole situation right here, they were not wise. No one in this situation was wise being involved in it. Now, I caught something that Charlemagne said when he was talking to that devil Vlad, but I mean, and Charlemagne is a devil himself.
Oh yeah.
But
for real.
But Vlad, I was actually agreeing more so with Vlad because he was getting into the nitty gritty of, well, who, you can't really necessarily say that he's guilty because he's not saying anything, because his lawyer would tell him not to say anything. You're involved in a case. He was giving it to Charlemagne the whole way when they was doing this small little debate. But the one thing Charlemagne did say that I couldn't disagree with was, why are you involved in something crazy like this? You get yourself like, how does this happen? And and that's what it is. You just getting involved with moving in the wickedness. Like I said, I'm not even gonna play it just for time's sake. Like I was telling you about earlier, but on the Breakfast Club, one of the first interviews he's done on the Breakfast Club, he mentioned that of course we know his name is Daystar Peterson. Speaking of Tory, and he mentioned that how his name was meant from a symbol to God. His dad would prophesy to him or tell him, hey, pretty much one day you're going to be, you're going to, go to your calling. For now you're gonna do your own thing. You're gonna have a different name and all of that, but you'll never be able to run from your name. So meaning that he believes he has a calling from God upon him. Well, if that's the case, and Lord willing it is, Lanez, Tory, Daystar, you need to. Now's the time for you to come back. If that's what your calling is, now's the time for you to come back, to come to the Most High through His Son Yahweh Shai and move in righteousness, and to do that, because this ain't working, right? And wickedness never works. It lasts for a time frame. You get an emptiness from it after it's done. It's pleasurable in the time, and it's very empty after that it's done, and it could lead to nothing but destruction. Like I said, the drink is raging, whosoever deceived by there is not wise. There's no wisdom involved in this situation. There's no wisdom and there's no righteousness. And where there's no righteousness, there's no wisdom, there's no righteousness.
Gone. Yeah, he had a song after the incident when he made his album called Praise to the Most High.
Yep.
Where he was basically kind of like alluding that he would beat the case. That was really what it was. That Praise to the Most High song, Tory Lanez did, I believe that's what it was called. And in the song, he's kind of alluding in the lyrics that he was going to beat the case and that Illuminati was on him trying to destroy him, but he was going to beat the devil. The only way going to defeat the devil is with Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is going to basically put to rest the deeds of Satan upon his people. And so you're not going to overcome them on your own. You've got to have Yahweh Shai. You know, so you know, and you know, maybe this could be a wake-up call while he's behind that wall and behind those bars, and he realized he's not able to live off his millions. He's not living the life he wants. He's not driving in the cars that he wants. He's not whatever it is that he's, you know, a lot of the material things that people cleave unto and believe that is important. He's going to realize that, you know, something else is more important, that his actual life, his actual soul is more important than the things out there. And a lot of times it takes these type of incidents for some of our people to open up and realize, you know, what the truth really is. So, you know, Most High commanded all men to repent. That includes even celebrities. They're involved in that, and most of them won't. You know, only a small percentage of them will get out of that lifestyle and seek after the Most High. But he might be in a position to do so. Just only time will tell.
Kind of, and back of what you said, Mark 3:23, and he called unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? Right? Because that's the thing, you know, you can't. That's our people try to, you know, they try to say, hey, look, I'm gonna beat the, like you just highlighted in that song. They try to beat Satan out with Satan doing the works of Satan. Like they're how can you literally overcome? Said, yo, I'm gonna beat him because God gonna get me through it, but you've been doing nothing but wickedness the whole time. That's how you got here. You haven't even repented or acknowledged that, hey, what I did was the wrong thing, and these actions are leading me down the wrong trajectory. So that's why I'm in the position that I'm in now. And I'm not saying that people don't think upon this, but at the end of the day, you know, they'll highlight, oh well, I'm in this situation, but I didn't do the necessary steps to get out. Am I really following God? Doing what am I doing? Is God punishing me? You know, there's people really got to think about that in these situations. When you're doing wickedness that leads to, you know, the position that you're in, you have to think, is God punishing me for what I did? Because see, otherwise there's no guideline. This is what the Christian, and this is the effects of our oppressors in the Christian church, right? With no discipline, telling you that, you know, hey, God's gonna bring you back up. You got knocked down, but he's gonna see you through it. But look at how you got here. What steps did you take to put yourself in a situation, man? Maybe you should try repenting and actually doing it the right way, so that, you know, you may have to still deal with the consequences, but the Most High can, you know, show mercy upon you and bring you out potentially.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why a lot of times the Most High gives us some chances, man. I mean, you know, a lot of us have been through different situations. The Most High has come out of it, and then we actually were able to learn from it and look back and say, okay, you know what, I learned from this incident. You know, Most High spared me from, you know, whatever worse outcomes could have came. And that's why these situations are very important to understand. And one of the the dynamics we were talking about in this is also was the love triangle thing. Now, this is where, see, in Israel, you got you know, we know about like the multiple wives thing and how our forefathers lived and everything like that. But if you look at the Tory Lanez situation, that situation was a guy trying to take on multiple women and then do it in dishonesty. Well, one, you know, those guys are not they're not married. They're in a fornication state. Basically, they're having sex with no intentions of staying together. The intentions of the other person, if, you know, on the female end, a woman sleeping with other men, that's already off. But the dude sleeping with a woman who potentially is married, you know, allegedly Tory Lanez was interested in trying to get at Kylie. I believe Kylie, you know, I know Kylie was with Travis Scott. And I think at the time they were separated or broken up. If you recall, there was like a time period where they were like allegedly had split, but then they got back together. But you know, when you see a situation like that, it's like it's a whole bunch of stuff. in the pool. You got one woman that he's dealing with. She's also dealing with other men, okay? Because I believe Kelsey's actually, I think, married with children or something like that. She has a man and she has a child. I've seen her little holiday, her little Christmas so-called portrait with her man and child. So it's like, wait, what was you doing? How you got a whole child and you got this man, and then you're also sleeping with Tory Lanez? Because the child was like above 2 years old.
Come
from
on,
the
man.
what I call in the picture. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
So like I mean, but like she had the whole like, you know, like thank God for another year, Merry Christmas, yada yada. This is after the verdict, of course, right? And I was like looking at the dude, like, yo, she got a man, she got a child or whatever. Well, she got a whole family. Now I don't know whether or not she had that guy before the incident. Maybe she met the guy, maybe she already had a kid prior. But we're talking about a very much out of order situations and relationships. And this is what some of the stuff that's going on is that Tory Lanez was with one woman and then went and dealt with the other woman, which her friend, Megan, and Tory together were deceptive against Kelsey. And they were dealing with each other. And so Kelsey is dealing with both of these. Kelsey is dealing with Tory, and Megan is dealing with Tory. And neither woman at that time, until that night of the incident, knew about it until it was exposed with them being drunk. Okay. And then that's how Megan and Kelsey ended up fighting. Why do we say that? Because many of our people, especially that are in the world, you got some of you sisters have fought over a man who was deceiving both you and the other woman, and y'all get into these girl fights over men. And trust and believe, woman, a lot of women are dying and getting killed by other women over another man that they're both dealing with. And I've seen stories pop up on Shade Room and these different blog sites, right? Where like they'll have a story about a woman killing another woman over a man, and these women will be so upset in the comments. I'm like, oh, why she died over some dude? He gonna go get another woman, and you in jail, and she dead. He gonna go run off to another woman. They so upset. But when men die, these women ain't got nothing to say. The only people that are saying something is the men. The men is saying you died over another man's woman or whatever. So a lot of times people are just bringing these type of things on themselves. And this is one of the reasons why people have to operate in honesty. And these people, Kelsey and Megan, were not really true friends. Kelsey was providing something to Megan, and Megan was providing something to Kelsey as to why they were together. Why am I saying that? Because this is not the first time that Megan had done this behind Kelsey's back, which is the reason why it escalated into a fight. And this fight of two drunken women escalated with a drunken man ended up putting himself involved. And then the outcome is he's been charged with 3 counts, found guilty, and he's a convicted felon at this point. And now his career is done. So whatever it is that he had planned is done with. Now, how many years he's going to get? He's going to be able to appeal. He'll get convicted. Then he'll later try and appeal and overturn the case. But if the people that have it out for him want him gone, there's nothing he can do. You got something?
Nah, well said. I will read this. This is the book of Hosea 4:14. I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery. For themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore, the people that doeth not understand shall fall. So look at that, man. And the Most High, because again, the tabernacles, right? He's dealing with the men, like as you mentioned earlier. The Most High is dealing with us. So it's like this, right? It's like on a team. Anybody that looks at sports, they're gonna look to the leader of the team. If it's maybe football, for the sake, since it's Sunday, you're dealing with a quarterback. More often than not, you're gonna look at 2 people. You're gonna look at the head coach and the quarterback on the team before you look at anybody. More often than not, because those are presumed leaders on the team. When you take an L, the quarterback is highly scrutinized and over hyped in terms of the win. You know what I'm saying? They're overly credited and they're over scrutinized for the loss. So when you win, you get more credit than you probably deserve, more than likely. Or when you're lost, you're taking more of the blame than you actually deserve. It's so much of a team sport. But it's the same way. We're here. The Most High is giving the righteous judgment, you know, because the men have the authority. So he's looking at us. He's looking at the men as the lead. So when you're taking the hit, hey, the fall is gonna fall directly on the men spiritually, and that's why he's saying even here, you know, he said, I'm not, at this particular time, I'm not gonna punish your daughters when they commit whoredom. No, because guess what? We as a people, you know, we're still doing in the wrong as a whole collective. Like you said, Tory Lanez is not like he was being the saint. You know, he was out here getting himself caught into these situations. He wasn't using wisdom, right? And he wasn't cleaving on to righteousness, right? So when you do that, you're getting involved. You know, again, you're getting involved here. It's look at Megan Thee Stallion. She's gonna be okay, right? Unless some sort of miraculous hit takes place, you know, most I can flip it how you want to. But as it currently stands, she's going to be all right. You know what, Kelsey? It looks like she's going to be all right herself as well. No one's really coming at Kelsey, so the women are not getting punished for these situations. But guess who is? You know. So
yep. But we're not saying that Tory didn't shoot the gun. However, there was evidence that showed that the DNA wasn't on of the gun wasn't on him.
Come on.
It had 4 people. I think it had 4 different DNAs, 2 females, 2 males, and neither one was conclusive as to showing Tory Lanez. However, there was gunpowder that was shown on Kelsey and Tory Lanez, according to the lawyer, right? So why it hasn't? So Kelsey, wasn't implicated as a potential suspect or shooter, and why? Because they didn't know the motivation behind what led to the gunshots being fired, right? And that's because both women basically lied initially about what happened, and later on it was exposed that there was a fight because there was actually a guy who was a witness that saw 2 women fighting. Okay, and this was before the shots went off. So the 2 women are fighting, and shots go off, and one of the women got shot. The first person that's going to be implicated as a suspect is the person that was fighting with that person.
Come on now.
But the powers that be in the state of California said, no, we're gonna make it Tory.
Yep.
You know, so and this is the reason why. You know, you gotta think about it when you're spiritual. You're reading the scriptures. You're talking with other brothers about righteousness and what kind of woman you want to have, what kind of wife you want to have. Your vision and mentality is not going to be Megan Thee Stallion.
Shouldn't be.
It's just not. But if you are not in that, if you're not following that way, your mentality is going to be the kind of girl you want is a woman who is Megan Thee Stallion. That's what's going to happen when you're not in the truth. A Megan Thee Stallion type woman is going to be appealing to you, or it's for mercy also for as a woman. A Tory Lanez type man may be appealing to you. A guy that cannot control his emotions. He's over here also assaulting random people. He punched August Alsina. I think he tried to attack somebody else. At one point, he also, I think, wanted to fight with, I believe, Chris Brown, if I'm not mistaken, like years back. So you're dealing with somebody who's, you know, doesn't have his emotions under control. Then he's also trying to play tough guy because let's keep it real. He's from Canada. And Canada is not the U.S., so it's hard to come across as a tough guy coming from Canada, right? So I think he overcompensated as well for his toughness at times when he's been in the industry. And then with him dealing with the kind of woman that Megan Thee Stallion is don't exist in large numbers in Canada. Okay, so there's an element of like him being intrigued by that type of woman because that's not the type of woman he grew up with. And we know if you grow up in Babylon, we've seen women like this, and we know that if you get with a woman like that, you are going to get into some stuff. And the reason why this happened with Tory, because these guys, they'll get rich and they'll get to this level, and instead of them getting a wife, right, they want to be a playboy. In fact, interestingly enough, he dropped the album called Playboy.
I knew you was just about to. I knew you was gonna go there. I was waiting.
So that's why this is happening to him. He was literally taking on that moniker really seriously. He was in. He had really got with Kelsey and with Megan, and he was in the pool, and he was making, Kylie Jenner laugh, and the dude got that voice. You know what I'm saying? So he probably was singing in the tub, and she was drinking. She had been drunk and got some shots, and he probably saw an opportunity for him to get to Kylie because Travis Scott and Kylie was like kind of separated during that time, if I'm not mistaken. And he probably was going to feel like he's going to strike a gold mine with Kylie being a billionaire and being a Kardashian, or slow call Kardashian. She's a Jenner, but she's we call her Kardashian nonetheless. What are you going to say?
I was about to say, I think it was because him and Chris Brown were actually cool. I think it was Travis Scott. Now that you mentioned, I think it was Travis Scott. It was Travis Scott.
It was Travis Scott.
Yep.
It was Travis Scott.
Yep.
I remember the video. Ain't that interesting? So there could have been some revenge going on in his mind with trying to get at Kylie.
Yep.
You see a lot of stuff unfolding, What was his motivation? And that's one of the reasons why, this society, these men that get to this level, and instead of them just getting married, which, listen, there's a lot of issues with marriage in this society. And there's a lot of things that men of that stature can lose by getting married. Let's keep it real. However, these guys are not going to seek out these alternatives, right? You're not going to become a passport bro and go get a traditional woman from overseas who's not going to think about leaving you because she comes from a culture where they don't leave men. You know what I mean? They're not going to think about that. You know what I'm saying? See, a man like him, if he was married to a traditional woman, he's not running out there. He's not running out there with two ratchets.
Exactly.
This is part of the reason why, this is one of the protections of marriage, in a situation. Because if you're going to be a playboy like Tory Lanez is, then you're going to get caught up in some stuff. Because being a playboy means you're going to be dealing with a lot of women's issues. Okay, I mean, you saw what happened with Drake. Drake had to put hot sauce in his thing, in his rubber.
Yep.
Another woman just accused him of trying to fly her out, and it was a lie. That just happened, last week. This is what happens when a man's not married and he's got this money and fame. You're gonna have these issues. Look at Nelly. Nelly was accused of this incident with a woman, out in I think Seattle or something like that. Look at the situation with Snoop Dogg. He's still running around chasing after women. He had this incident where one of those loudmouth thoughts on Instagram ended up basically, exposing him being with her at a hotel. And he got to go and answer and go back home and all that stuff. This is what happens when you're just dealing with all these women, man. There's not many righteous women on this, in this Babylon. There's not many. So you're going and just dealing with random women. You're going to get dirty. You're just going to get dirty. You're not going to come out unscathed just dealing with, let's get that, bro. Hold on. Let's get this real quick. Go on, let me get this real quick. You pull up the precept for me. You gotta find the precept. Get Sirach chapter 19 and verse 2. This is a perfect one.
Sirach 19 and 2. Wine and women will make men of understanding to fall away, and he that cleaveth to harlots will become impudent.
Yep. Meaning that person will become shameless. That's what happened with Tory. The wine is the excess wine. Don't get silly. Somebody might get silly in their mind thinking that wine is wicked. Tells you one of the essentials of man in life is wine. It's about wine, meaning the mixture of getting drunk and with woman will make men of understanding fall away. And he that cleaveth to harlots will become impudent. This is Tory. Those women in the Most High's eyes are harlots. You just got to keep it real. You know, this is what it is. The Most High views their behavior as being harlots. He claves to them, and bam, he got what he got. What he got. Okay, and he was drunk with these women. And Satan comes right there and says, "Oh, I got a good situation that I could do something with." He's rubbing his hands like Birdman. The Most High talking about, can I get him? Go ahead and get it. You got something to say?
Oh yeah, no, that's facts. That's how it is. Hey, like you said, man, it's a roaring lion, man. This is Hebrews 13:4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge. And that whole situation was full of whoremongering, adultery. Because you brought that up, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that Kelsey had was married to someone. Granted, a lot of you really look at our whole. She
has a man.
She has a man. She
has a whole family. She has a child or children with, and she has a man.
Which
was
really
like Christmas. It was like in Christmas outfits.
Okay, come on. So and really now in the worldly aspect of because of how Esau has done this culture, right? Yeah, they're not married, so to speak, of going and getting a piece of paper, but in our eyes, right, they would be married. So you know, so that's just that, and see that's the confusion that's being done with here, because and like that's another reason for people that want to say, oh, sex, having that physical intimacy doesn't solidify marriage. We're not saying that we never have said that you don't go through other steps to get to that point, as far as just making sure you're proving a friend and such and the third. But for anyone who other Israelites want to use the doctrine of, oh yeah, no, sex does not mean marriage. Well, this is what you're inviting when you make these type of statements. When you make this doctrine, that's what you make to happen.
Yeah.
To continue to fornicate, and continue, and they do it for life, man, until the point where they get old enough to the point where it's not appealing anymore, or they can't do it anymore, or they're dead. So that's what it's eventually just gonna roll out to. When we make these type of statements, that's why it says that's why we got to deal with things. Things got to be done decently and in order in the Most High way. A man can have more than one wife, but if you're gonna do it, you got to do it in the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, not this whole single, I can, hot girl type. That's all it's gonna do is lead to death, man.
Or living like an Andrew Tate lifestyle, where he promotes being with multiple women, but you're just sleeping with random women, and they go and sleep off with somebody else. They're not with you, and it's cleaving into you in the marriage. This is where that whole people just like don't believe. Now we forgot about one guy in this whole thing that we didn't mention this whole time. Megan Thee Stallion's so-called boyfriend, Party, who was embarrassed by the details that came out that all of these rappers and athletes were smashing his women.
See?
He was embarrassed by that. Okay, and then he had to go and act show a brave face with his statement, saying how he's saddened by the way that Megan is being portrayed, and that he supports her as a woman, and blah 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 blah. And so he had to basically just save face, but he knows where his bread is buttered at the end of the day. Okay. That's why he ain't going nowhere right now until he either gets a break or she breaks with him.
Hey, don't be surprised to see him go off and sleep with. Look, you best believe because look, man, deal with that. You best believe he's gonna be looking for some revenge in some type of way. You think it's gonna slip? Like he's just being, like you said, he's just being smart about it. Like it's liable that he may try to go and take revenge and sleep with someone else. You never know. You never know the situation. When you're dealing with the world, anything goes. This is brother Yao Sop, Ecclesiastes 7:28. That's a good one. I was thinking about pulling that myself. That's a good one. Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. And those are very, very low odds of finding a righteous one, as Solomon was writing. Those are very low chances of finding a real one. That's least in going into this, man. It's hard to find a real one. One man among 1,000 and no woman among those 1,000. So that means you got to go deeper into more numbers. You got to go into millions, billions before you
yeah. Gotta get to 10,000. And how did Solomon know this? Solomon had 1,000 wives and concubines sold. And out of all the ones that he had, none of them was right.
Come on.
So that shows you the rarity, of a righteous woman. She's not found even one among 1,000. And this is back in the ancient world, but as far as a woman that's going to basically do right for him full way, doesn't mean that there was no good woman or women that weren't doing what they needed to do as wives.
Right.
But it's just the standard in which a man that he found one among 1,000. That means one out of every 1,000 men are good. Or, you know what I'm saying? Are on point. But of the woman, he couldn't find it. So a lot of times right here, it's like this is where the Most High has to come into play for you for him to have his hand on the transformation of the woman as well. That's why you might meet a very nice woman that's out there. So it's quote unquote nice, I'm putting air quotes, woman out there. She's not a believer. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how's that gonna work? How's that gonna work? So brother had the other one too, Sirach 25 and 24.
Yup. There we go right here.
Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. And if that incident was in a different space or place, it could have probably gotten more deadly. Satan uses a wayward woman is used by Satan as a bait to destroy the people around.
Yep. God.
Go when you watch these movies, man, you'll see men dying really over women. You go to watch Men in Society, all them guys died over women, bro. The people that died in that movie died over women. Go look at the beginning. Old Dog killed the 2 store clerks over his mama. They said they feel sorry for his mother. 2 people died. Cain's cousin that got carjacked, he died over a woman. How do we know that? Because the only reason why he bought a BMW was so he can attract women.
Look at that.
You go further on in the movie, towards the end, Cain died over a woman. He slept with a woman. The woman got pregnant. She was known to run around. She wanted him to be the baby daddy when she got pregnant. He said, wasn't the baby daddy. I can't be because I had the rubber on. She got upset. She tells her brother. Her brother comes, fights Cain, gets beat up by Cain, and he comes back to kill Cain. And killed his homie too. The Muslim brother, the Muslim guy. He got shot in that drive. He got killed in that drive-by as well. All those people died over women, bro.
God.
That's how Satan uses it. He uses women. Any woman, they go out unscathed.
Oh yeah.
And
that's what you deal with. You're not dealing with that order. You're dealing with women just to be out here, like you mentioned many times, right? Satan is up top if you're not dealing with the proper order. Yahweh being the top, Yahweh Shai being there next up, and then you got to follow that lead. But if you're not doing that, you got Satan, especially the woman. You letting the woman run on top of you. There goes Satan. You know,
Yep.
you got to make sure they got to run under your regimen. You know what I'm saying? They got to run under your authority because you're running under the proper authority yourself. This is Second Corinthians chapter 6 verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? For what communion have light with darkness? Now, say if a brother, and because this happens too, right? Because you want to have um, a woman by your side, but she got to be moving on the pathway of righteousness. You can't just deal with someone that's just out here and because hey, look, you got other religions and you'll see people that are Islam to deal with Christianity, so-called Christian believers and vice versa, whatever the case may be. They'll go ahead and do that, but the scriptures tell you to be unequally yoked. There's certain stipulations that let you do that. Now, it's one thing, of course, if you come into this, there's scriptures that deal with that. You go to 1 Corinthians 7, right? But we're talking about a new brother and a new sister walking in this thing, and you coming in, you fresh, you know what I'm saying? You gotta stay in the pathway and let the Most High provide it for you, because coming out here and seeking any of these because they may be Israel, they look good, or whatever the case may be out here in the world, you just trying to rock and you trying to do your thing and they're trying to do their thing while you're doing your thing, it ain't gonna mix, man.
And that's what's accepted. That's actually the relationship that men are being told to accept. They're being told to accept independent women. And men are backing track from that, man. That's why they have the modern woman versus the traditional woman. That's the war that's going on right now in social media. And men are saying they want traditional women, and they're going to go across the world to find it if they have to. That's how bad it has gotten. And men are being shamed for not dealing with the modern woman. They're being shamed into dealing with the modern woman that doesn't want to listen. They don't want to follow underneath the man. They believe that we're in a partnership and not in a marriage where a man is leading. And that's why these women are not happy. They're not satisfied, but they think that they know what they want, but they don't know what they want. That's Satan telling them that this is what's going to make you happy. And that's why there's prediction that by 2030, that about 50-something% of all women in prime marriage age, between 20, I believe 20 years old and 25 years old and 44, are going to be unmarried, are going to be unmarried, and never be married and never have children. And they're certain of this based on the trajectory of how women are moving. So women are not even going to be fulfilling their role from a spiritual perspective of what the Most High wanted women to be. And that's going to just continue to lead to the destruction of this society, which, is ordained anyway. But ultimately, that's one of the problems. And if a woman is not in her right and proper purpose, she's never going to be really truly fulfilled. If a woman knows her purpose as a woman and understands the importance of fulfilling her role and purpose, then she's going to see why the Most High willed her to be a woman to begin with.
Come on.
So, did you already read Proverbs 31:3?
I didn't. Cause y'all was up posting some fire out here, man. I'll go back to that real quick, and then we'll go to that Tobit 4:12. Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto woman, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. And that's man. That's exactly what it does, man. You're giving your strength onto a woman. That's why we're warned not to do these things, right? Give the ways these ways destroy kings. It is fact. That is a fact that has happened over history, biblically and secularly. You could look at like we just gave out some examples, in which this stuff destroys kings, destroys men of men, man. When they give their strength onto a woman. So you got to make sure you hold on to that.
Yeah. What is something that kings wear that regular men don't wear?
You got no crowns, man.
So your crown tells you, Paul says, told Timothy, let no man take thy crown.
Come on.
The elect men, when they get delivered, they're going to get crowns in their head.
Come on.
So what are the things that can cause you to lose your crown, to lose yourself from being crowned, all right, as a king, is giving your strength unto a woman. So if you give your strength unto a woman and you let her lead you, then you already lost your crown. You got something to say?
Con, that's right on. That's right on. That's right on. A lot of people don't even realize. I'm just talking to community in general. A lot of people don't even realize that's happening. You know what I'm saying? But you just going with the flow with it. This is a thing that is happening, man. And for all the teaching of, hey, look, make sure these precepts are nothing like new. A lot of people bring them out, but that's where it comes to it. But now you gotta work. You gotta apply these things to make sure this is what's being held, especially in the times we're in now, man. More than ever.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, look, the other precept the brother brought out, man, Tobit 4:12, beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe, for we are the children of. Now, even so, even with this, right, dealing with not with the strange woman, right, not with the heathen, but also strange woman. A strange woman could be a Megan Thee Stallion. Strange woman can be a Kelsey. They Israel, but at the same token, they strange because they're not. Because when we take these scriptures in the further, right, you put your Hawashai lens on. If you're not walking and moving, if she's not moving in the way of a godly woman, hey, she's a strange woman, man, because she's in the way of she's moving as the way of a heathen. So she's making herself likened to a heathen anyway. She's become strange, and that's what the Most High is talking about when he's dealing with us, right? He does that. He's done that with us. We've made. He tells us all the time. What he tells us, he said, "You made them so. You made us strange onto us, man." Let's get a precept on that. We got a lot of them right here. Hold on. This is what happened in. Let's go to First Maccabees 1:38. Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. So hey, look, and that's what happened when we fled on, made a covenant with the heathen. That's what happened, bro. We made ourselves strangers. We became likened unto heathen, man. The ways of the Gentiles. A strange, what do you say, a strange vine?
Yeah, called a degenerate vine of the strange tree unto me. Yeah, because that's one of the things that we have to understand is that on a spiritual angle, there's going to be a woman that's a believer. You could be a so-called, you could be you're from the tribe of Benjamin, and you met a woman from the tribe of Benjamin. You're just speaking hypothetically, but she's an idolater. She's practicing witchcraft. You think that's what the Most High is talking about? Nope. The seed of thy fathers tells you that those that are the household of faith is of the seed of Abraham. So you're looking for the woman that's of the household of faith, meaning the ones that basically that believes. She's coming from that seed of faith that was promised unto Abraham, because not everybody that came out of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are of that household of faith. Right? So, like you said, Megan Thee Stallion, she's a heathen woman. In the eyes of the Most High, she's a heathen. Same with Tory. He was a heathen too.
Yep.
So I mean, because you got in Israel, you got these people that just are, they're looking at outward appearance, or they're looking at what they view as modern day race or nationality or ethnicity, and that's like what they view as what this scripture is talking about. But further on, when you understand the true understanding, like be not unequally yoked with non-believers, right? A non-believer is someone that can be an Israelite. that doesn't believe in the gospel.
Yep.
And even to go further, a non-believer can be someone who knows that they're an Israelite and they don't believe in the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times people be thinking like, oh, I met this brother, and this brother, he's in this group. He's in Sakari, or he's in Wi-Fi. He's in Sons of Thunder. And I'm going to go talk to this guy. I'm going to go marry this guy. No, you're made yourself unequally yoked with a non-believer, because now when it comes to trying to keep the Sabbath, he's going to keep in the lunar. When it comes to talking about pathway to salvation, he's going to say all Israel going to be saved.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to get the bombs. I'm gonna have to get the bombs on here for as many of the bombs you just dropped. This shot's fired. But it's true. It's true. It is true. I mean, we're saying this for truth's sake. That is exactly what it is. Because of the deception of he's an Israelite, she's an Israelite, everybody's an Israelite. Hey, let's all get along. Israelite kumbaya. Like. And don't get me wrong, we don't hate, we don't want to go to hate our people. We it's for the most high that the people would be saved. But at the end of the day, we know that's not going to happen. And that's the whole, you see it in the gospels, you see it further on in the journey of the apostles. It's just not going to happen. People are not going to believe in Yahweh Shai, truly and wholeheartedly believe in Yahweh Shai. There's got to be those that are going to say, Lord, Lord, call him Lord, Lord. Haven't I done many works in thy name, right? But at the end of the day, they haven't come back onto him and accepted him as their righteousness, via, a lot of things we've talked about. They just truly haven't accepted Yahweh Shai by their action, but just by their lips, right? That's Jeremiah chapter 2 and 21. Yet I have planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? And that's what it is. He's a righteous seed, and that righteous seed is talking about the children of the children of the Most High, who are believers, now revealed to be believers of His only begotten Son, the Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. That's the righteous seed, and the degenerate plant, the strange vine, is everybody else. Everybody else, no matter whether they know who they are at this point, or they don't care about who they are, and they don't consider. And like you said, they're continuing in their wickedness and just living their life until it's over with. Well, I don't know whichever way you take of it. Now maybe one side may be closer than the other, theoretically speaking. But at the end of the day, closer isn't enough if you don't accept Yahweh Shai. If you don't accept him wholeheartedly, it is what it is. You're still a strange vine.
Now, if you want to prove that, go to John chapter 15. So go to John chapter 15 and start at the top. See, because the thing about it is, if you're not part of this vine, the proper vine, you're not part of what the Most High wants. Okay. So you can read it down to go down to verse 6. So read down to verse 6.
Yeah. God. John 15 from the top. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. Every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine, no more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. Look at that, man. And that's what, like you said, he also in John just goes right there with John 10 being him. He's the door. So he's letting you know in many different ways, many different parables, different examples for you to know. Hey, look, he is the way, right? That's why we always tie everything to Yahweh Shai, because he is the way, and that's the way the Most High set it up. You gotta believe in the Son, man, and you gotta move as his son. You got to abide as him, right? You got to walk as he would walk in all ways, right? So you're dealing with just obviously an example of the people that we've gone over. That isn't it, and then even further, right? You gotta believe in Yahweh Shai full wholeheartedly. We know people. There's plenty of people that'll try to justify using John 15:3 to tell you don't need to follow all the ways of Yahweh Shai, if you know what I mean. Which via baptism is one thing, and we're not going to make that a whole case, but that's just part of it. Like, you're clean through the word which I have spoken unto you, and so that means now you don't have to do as Yahweh Shai did, which is totally asinine because in the word he mentions being baptized. This is totally asinine. So it's just one of the things, one of the many things, and people are going to get destroyed for not following Yahweh Shai. That's just what it comes down to, and we see the results of not following Yahweh Shai and how we're getting here. We got back to where we are, back to where we were. As a people, just being caught in the wickedness and getting back into, after Yahushua left the earth, just all falling apart and seeing how we act as Gentiles, even in this truth, even the so-called truth of knowing that you're an Israelite, right? So it's a lot of deception involved in this thing, man. So we just got to follow the way, man, and just understand it's very small pickings, in this thing. Once you narrow it down even further, because if you're the person you're looking at to be a potential partner is not into being into Yahweh Shai, then that should already tell you that, well, they can't be with you.
God. Yeah, bro. Come on. The brother had a couple of more precepts, which kind of the continuation of that Tobit 4 and 12. But it's true, yeah, inherit the land. And that's why we tell brothers and sisters to marry, when at least when you get into the faith, if you are not married, wait it out for another believer. If you are married, if you're already in a marriage, when you became a believer and your husband or wife is a non-believer, like Paul said, stay with that person if they are pleased to dwell with you. If they depart and they don't want to be with you any longer, let them go. But for those of you that are believers, try and wait for another believing brother or sister, so that way you can even be more blessed. Because now, if you got two people that have believed in the proper gospel and y'all are linked together, that's way more powerful. The Most High is going to give y'all a lot more favor as well. That's why that's there in the book of Tobit. Ultimately, when you look at the grand scheme, the ultimate end value of it, of what you just read in John 15 and 16, you cannot be attached to this vine unless you've gone through the proper process to be attached to the vine, which is Yahweh Shai. Right? So just because somebody calls themselves an Israelite does not mean they're part of the vine. Okay? So you want to be with somebody that is attached to the vine just like you are. So that way both you and that other person, whether your husband or your wife, depending if you're a male or female, can bear fruit together and remain in the vine and inherit the land, like the brother just put at the end.
God.
So go ahead.
Oh, I'm slack, yeah. No, slack. Go ahead.
No, I'm finished.
I just wanted to throw in real quick. We're also, disclaimer, we're not obviously saying, right, because even Paul warned, there's still going to be trouble in the flesh because we're in the flesh and we're not, we're not perfected. We're not walking in, we're striving for perfection. We're on the walk to perfection. But hey, it happens. We're in the flesh. So we're going to have, moments of weakness in this thing, man. But so we're not saying that just because you're with a believer doesn't mean that you're not going to have moments of trouble. As Paul wrote, you'll be in trouble in the flesh. That's why it's best, to, if you can abide as he did, be to yourself, right? But you're not sinning if you get married, and you get married, right? Just understand that that's going to be there, but it definitely gives you the best case scenario. The Most High knows all of us, and whether he needs who they need a help meet or not, for the man and for the woman, So he'll put them together. And if that's the case, you know, you will definitely be in the best track, and the Most High can help y'all grow together, right? As one flesh, you know what I'm saying? Versus you being one flesh with a wicked woman or a wicked man, you know what I'm saying? Going on the opposite. Y'all going on two different pathways, and you know, more than likely one of y'all is gonna get dragged, especially if it's a woman, you know, because of being the weaker vessel. Chances are you get dragged down with it, you know. So, you know, we just, hey, you gotta cleave to the righteousness. Remember always to keep righteousness and wisdom. So I'm gonna go to Sirach chapter 1, verse 20. The root of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, and the branches thereof are long life. And that's still talked about. That's again, put you with that Yahweh Shai lens on, even when he's not dead. Like the brother mentioned, the grand scheme of things, the grand totality of it is Yahweh Shai. So anytime we're done with the branches, you know, those branches are connected to the vine, which is Yahweh Shai. Those lead to long life, the root of wisdom, right? That's where we get our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Gone.
Shoot, I got one more. If you want, if you give me just a second, we get one more. One that everybody knows very well, right? Matthew 6 and 33. Seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added on to you. And this is a big one because, hey, look, this is one that everyone should remember, and it just stick to your head. It should be like, you know, a wake up, like motivational scripture, because at the end of the day, it's easy to get caught up into thinking about things here in this world, because this is where we're currently at, right? This is where we're currently at, and again, we're dwelling in the flesh. But you seek the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, the things that you need, he's going to bring to you, right? That are necessary, because a lot of things, hey, the flesh do us no good, you know. And Paul was writing about that in Romans 7. So, you know, you get caught up in wanting things that you don't need, you really don't even need, you really shouldn't have. And you see, it leads, the wages of sin of death, it leads to destruction. You see this type of stuff, it leads to destruction with this Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion situation. And no good is coming out of it, right? But you know, again, you know, someone like Tory, you know, you better go and change your name to Daystar, like your father said, and you know, seek the righteousness of the kingdom at this point, man. Because hey, look, this, you know, this we're heading to that end now. We're getting ready to hit that end phase, and that's what it's going to be. And then really, you know, you could be living like a righteous player, you know what I'm saying, in the kingdom, because it's you won't not dealing with any headaches. Look, our society is crazy. They try to brainwash you. I know we talked about this before too, but like there's a Fresh Prince episode. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick before we get ready to stab out of here. But there's a Fresh Prince episode. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up, but where Will, hold on. I think you already know what I'm talking about, though. You know what I'm talking about. Let me see. I don't know if they got this on YouTube or whatever the case may be. If I can find that episode, it was like, let me see. I forgot the name of it, but basically, he wanted a wife that would argue with him. Like when she was perfect. Like this, like literally, I can't remember the episode, man. I can't remember the episode, but anyone that watched Fresh Prince, right? You know, they know what it is. Like he wanted a wife that basically, when she in his vision, she was being perfect and doing everything, intending to everything that he would say, ask, or do. She was doing what she was programmed to really do. She was being in her natural state in his dream. And because she wasn't bucking back or fighting back as the modern day so-called black woman, you know, would do, it was mind-boggling to him. He couldn't deal with it. He was like, man, I want a woman that argue back with me. Like, it's toxic. And Jake likes to deal with the craziness, you know what I'm saying, because of, you know, the toxicity is something that Jake it loves. It's embedded in their mind. Like, you complain about the situation, but then you like it at the same time. It's madness, right? And he couldn't deal with it. He was begging for a woman that would talk back to him.
Gone. Gone.
You have anything at?
No, that's it.
Con.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna have to find that scene out. I cannot find it. I got to find the episode first. But yeah, y'all, if y'all know, you know, man. So shoot, man.
Yeah, that's but man, that was a good little stream. Hopefully this is edifying for y'all brothers and sisters, and a lot of little lessons that was packed in there in this situation. So just be mindful. A lot of times, Most High will allow things to happen that are out there that we can learn from. So that way we don't have to go through that, right? So we can also, it's also a lesson for other people as well. I mean, I think even a lot of our people are learning from this thing, that are not in. We're talking a lot of non-believing brothers and sisters. What I mean by non-believing, people that don't know that they're Israel, at least from that level. So, or not trying to follow after like the law in any way, shape, or form. I'm thinking they're having reflecting of their own situations, and they're not trying to be a partake in those type of situations as well. And this right here is just a case example and point about how a man can be, lose everything that he's built over just a one drunken night.
I'm gonna cap it off right here. Let's cap it off in Matthew 26. Now, when Yahushua was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste? This ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble you the woman? For she have wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. In that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also that this woman have done be told for a memorial of her. And with that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, learning and or teaching this gospel in truth and sincerity, diligently waiting on the second coming of our Lord and Savior Yahushua Mashiach to return, and Lord willing, deliver us from this wicked captivity that we're in as of right now, and the end is coming soon. So we're going to continue to pray, stay in prayers, and special shalom to our brothers and sisters that tuned in and will tune in later on.
Shalom. Yahbashim Yahshai Barakatham.
Yahbashim Yahshai Barakatham.
Our oppressors never wanna see we up. Psalms 83, they plotting, scheming up. I'm so sick of this world, I can't say it enough. Praying that Yahweh Shai will come and clean me up, beat me up. me up. Praying that your Howard shower clean me up. Beam me up. Beam me up. I'm so sick of this world, can't say it enough. Smile on my face might make you think I'm happy, but I ain't. I lose my voice. If I had the time to voice all my complaints, look at my people. They